Welcome everybody to I, the Serpent Tarot, for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading, it's a little bit whimsical, hopefully a little bit of fun. We're looking at what you are most searching for at the moment, what you are the seeker for, and what you are likely to find on your journey and how it is likely to turn out. And we will be using the Seeker Oracle to work out what the nature of the search is, and also another oracle which you'll see as the reading progresses to give you some idea about some advice, and then tarot to look into that. And then we're going to be calling on the Fae in particular and magical creatures and a little bit from the stars to give you sort of guidance on your journey. So I don't think there's a lot of introduction I need to do about this. I think that we can pretty much jump right into it. So there are 3 readings to choose from. You can of course go to more than one if you feel drawn to more than one. There may be more than one aspect of your life that you're seeking things at the moment. But to help with the choice, I shuffled and asked Spirit for a Seeker Oracle card to most represent a key part of your current search. So this may give you some idea about which reading or readings most call to you. For pile number 1, we have Made for Motion, which gives me a sense of like wanting to get on with things. I almost get a sense of impatience, or I just want to get going with something, or I just want to have a bit of fun. For pile number 2, we have Look to the Future. So some of you may be very strategic in what you're doing. You may be really planning a lot of things at the moment. You may see some big changes are coming and you want to be able to work out how they're going to work out. And you may also be sort of someone who's drawn to sort of like building your skills in terms of clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, that sort of thing. For the 3rd pile, we have Choose Love. So I suspect this is going to be about love. Could be romantic love, could be love of others. It could be, you're in a disharmonious environment and you're wanting to bring that energy in. But there's something there about the heart and love and passion, I would say. There is going to be a couple of other Seeker Oracle cards plus another Oracle, as I say, to really try and work out the overall theme, which we'll get at the beginning in the reading. Then after that, we'll get into tarot and other advice for you. So you do you, and however you decide what reading or readings to go to, but when you know, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you've come to the reading that had Made for Motion, and so I feel whether or not that was why you came, it is actually, I think, giving a very good sense about why you're seeking something at the moment when I'm looking at the other cards here, because I feel what we see here is the impetus for your search, the reason for it, the outcome, and also some advice. So it's a nicely encapsulated thing here, but I want to go firstly to the impetus because this will help you know if you've come to the right reading. Made for Motion and Winter. So winter here says period of inactivity, decay, cold, or downtime. I feel as though you've been in that around something. You felt really frustrated. You felt like things weren't building the way that you wanted them to, or that things were just really going slowly, or they weren't fun. So there's a sense around that. And I think for most of you, it's got to do with relationship. Now, it could be a love relationship, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be colleagues, it could be collaborators. But with Grow Together, I feel like these 3 together are telling me about the aim and the current feeling you have around it. So you want to connect with somebody or some people or some sort of organization or, as I say, collaboration. There's something about other people and you feel like it's been stuck and you really want to get to the outcome. And this is promising you're going to get the outcome. We've got treasure here. We've got someone or something greatly valued wealth. So you are, whether it's working with people together, you are going to do very, very well, or if it's a love relationship, then it's going to work out. Like this is, the energy here is saying you felt like, is it ever going to get started? So it could be potentially around a relationship, and is it going to go to the next level? Are we going to go out? Whatever it is that you're ready for. But yes, it can. But the advice is very clear. It's saying slow down, don't rush things, and enjoy the moment. So if this is around a relationship, it could be that if you are really seeking that next level and the commitment or whatever, you get in the way of enjoying it. And so therefore slow down any capacity to do this. And you could potentially in the long term move away from it because you get frustrated when there's so much promise. So there is definitely a sense of like, just enjoy yourself at the moment. Just enjoy being together if that's the case, because it's going to go there, but it's like you can't rush it. You've got to let it become something that's enjoyable and beautiful between you. And it's a similar energy, I think, if this is around a collaboration or anything sort of creative or career-wise. You are going to connect with the people that you need to, but the journey is meant to be enjoyable too. So I feel like you're someone who you've got your very clear idea of a goal and you feel like things are going too slow. But this is saying, no, they're actually slowing down a bit so you can enjoy the journey, because you're going to get your treasure. You are going to get what you want. But unless, of course, you literally get so frustrated that you push it fast and then you kind of cruel your own pitch, so to speak. But I think for most of this and for most of you, you're going to get there. But it's like, enjoy the journey as well. So that will let you know, I think, if this is the right energy for you. I think it really is. Have you been frustrated about something and you want to get it going? And it's got something to do with connecting with other people. That is the essence of this. So let's see what Tarot wants to say. So we're going to get a little bit more about what you're actually seeking, and then we're going to have a look about what you're going to find as you go through this seeker's journey, and then we'll have some wild cards. And I think the wild card for you almost is obvious already, which is that the only thing that could sort of stop this really is you getting too impatient, I feel. But let's just get a little bit more information from Tarot. So let's say, tell us a little bit more about what pole 1 is seeking. Knight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles reversed, Justice, okay, Strength reversed, the Fool, okay, all right. So I think, well, it could be either, this could work for either career, collaboration, that kind of thing, something in your career that is with others, or business or something along those lines, or a relationship. I'm going to talk relationship first because I feel like that's the most obvious one here, but I also think that there is something about career. If I'm looking at this around relationship, I feel this is that you are with someone, or you're kind of circling around someone, and there's obviously a mutual interest, but you want to get to something very committed very soon. You feel like the other person either isn't showing the signs of commitment with the King of Pentacles reversed where you are, or you feel like that conversation hasn't occurred yet, and yet you are ready to commit. You are ready to commit. You are ready to do the whole 9 yards really, and potentially, get married or something along those lines. So there's definitely a sense of commitment, but you're feeling frustrated, and this is the new adventure you want to be on. So I feel like you feel like the other party isn't going as fast as you would like, and isn't as open to it. Now, I don't think that's true, but what I feel is that you are very sure with the Fool here. That is that sort of sense of like, you know what, I'm ready to go for it. And there isn't a sort of sense of like what the kind of risks could be. And I don't feel like necessarily, I don't think this is saying there are risks, but I'm saying I think that the person that you're around maybe is a little bit more gun shy around this, isn't as ready to just jump into things, likes to take a bit more time. You're already there and you're committed, and you feel as though this is sapping your strength and sapping your energy. You want to get a decision, you want to move forward, but I think you do need to slow down. You do need to slow down because, again, with the Strength reversed, you're not enjoying it. And you could potentially put the person off. I don't think it's going to happen, but you could. So I think it's like, understand this other person, they're carrying some sort of baggage where they're not as ready to just jump in, but it doesn't mean that they aren't there. It just means that they need to take a bit more time. And the more that you enjoy being with the person and they enjoy being with you, because I do think this is also them. I think they're not as strong around all this as you. There's something around them that makes them more gun shy. Now, if it's around career or collaboration, then again, you're very ready to move forward and do something new. The other person they either need a little bit more financial resources if it's a collaboration, or they need to be a bit more clear on what's going to happen. They're kind of like, let's plan this. It's more like you're the visionary potentially, and they're the money person or the numbers person or the business person. There is a commitment, I think, in this case, to doing it on both sides, and you really can potentially, legally connect, all of that sort of thing. But they're a bit slower around this sort of stuff. They want to know that the strength is there, whereas as I say, I feel like you're the visionary. Similarly, if this is about wanting to grow together by being in a new organisation, I think you will be offered a contract. But this may be saying that you need to enjoy the process and go through the process of getting it, and then starting in the job, you'll have the commitment, you'll grow, but it may take a little bit longer than you think. So there's just something here about patience, pole 1. And I'm probably the least patient person in the universe, so I'm not saying this as a criticism, but I kind of know this energy. Sometimes when you are impatient and you're always very future focused, you can actually not enjoy what you're going through at the time. And I think this is what this is saying. And it's interesting because we're that future, look to the future for pile 2. Some of you may be drawn to both piles because there could be a similar sort of energy there, though yet to see because I haven't done that reading yet. So let's have a look at what you're going to find as if you can like slow down, enjoy the moment and seek on that sort of level. If you take this sort of advice. The Tower. 2 of Swords reversed, Knight of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, 10 of Swords reversed. Okay, you'll have the breakthrough that you want. So if you can just do this, you'll have the breakthrough, because you do have to understand the other party in this, or the other parties, whether that, like people to collaborate with or work with or something like that, they take a lot longer to make a decision. But you will have a breakthrough around this if you enjoy it. Like, this is their language. This is how they want to feel it and experience it and let it build and grow. And there's a lot of passion that can be had there, whether it's artistic, collaborative passion or romantic passion. That's what works for them. That's what will take them towards the greater commitment and the breakthrough. So if you just take this advice, you're going to find that this actually starts to grow. There's a blessing here. And again, whether it's a business blessing, material blessing, or a relationship that has a very material outcome, and all the drama goes out of it then. This is the thing. You are ready. You may actually have quite sort of clairvoyant or claircognizant or prophetic senses. You may really see the future more than this person does, but they've got to catch up. And if you enjoy it, it takes some of the drama out of worrying about this. And your tendency to want to jump in becomes jumping into enjoying the moment, which takes the drama off them, which means then they can enjoy it or connect with you. And this has the breakthrough. So it's a very strong message. But let's get 3 cards, just for any wild cards associated with this that you also need to take into account. Pile 1. 9 of Cups reversed. 3 of Wands, 7 of Pentacles. Okay. So, I think the wild card is that their dream is a little bit different to yours. Now, it doesn't mean it won't work out. As I say, there was a promise, right from the beginning that this, you can have what you want here. And I think that it will be a good thing. There's a lot of sort of energy, but I think you need to understand that what you think your dream is and what they think the dream is a bit different. This is what you need to understand. And if you slow down a bit, you'll find out. I think you will find when you do that you can find the connection, that you can both find the connection and the direction to go, and that it can grow. But there is an aha moment that's coming here. So if this is a love relationship, it's understanding in a sense what their love language is compared to yours, I think. If this is a collaboration, you're going to find they have a slightly different view of things. It is simpatico and it can grow, but you need to know that. If you rushed into it too soon, then you'd be operating on cross purposes and it wouldn't work. This is why it's important to slow down. And if this is around a work situation, then it may be that this isn't your ideal work situation in the longer term, but it is enough to grow for the moment. So it depends on what this is about. But I do think you need to understand the reason that things are slowing down is not just, it is partly because the other side is more conservative, takes longer to make a decision. And I don't mean conservative politically, I just mean it in terms of they take longer, they need to sort of see things more. But it's also that there's a slight disconnect. And it's not an ultimate problem, but you need to know that to get a good outcome. Okay, so let's get you some advice. So we're starting with we're going to the Fae basically for the advice to start with. So we're going to get a couple of different decks with the Fae to sort of see energy from the Fae to help you with this, which is really to help you kind of just sort of rein yourself in a bit without losing the momentum and get back to enjoying what you're doing. So we have the Golden Unicorn. Well, that's beautiful. You've got protection around you. And this is, I think that slowing down is actually a protection. And Greenman's Door. Okay, all right. So The golden unicorn to me, is actually a sort of fae energy that is with you. So that is a protector, a guardian, a champion. It is of something very unusual if you think about it. Unicorns they're mythical, and we are talking about mythical and magical creatures in this in terms of helping you on your journey. I think it's kind of interesting that we have sort of like another equine sort of character here in the enjoy the moment, and we have the unicorn, but it's interesting that they're kind of looking in opposite directions. I think this is the thing. I think this energy is trying to say you need to look back a bit, look at the other person more. You're kind of forward, you're thinking forward, look back at the other person. There's protection around you. This is a good connection, this is a good idea, whatever it is. But the protection is in looking backwards and connecting on that level rather than just racing forward. Then with Greenman's Door, with portals to the Fae, Wheel of the Year, Galactic and Gaian entry points, there's a lot of sort of psychic and sort of spiritual energy around this. This is why it is going to work. Like, this is meant to happen, but at the moment you're ahead of the other person. You need to look back. There's a protection to bring that in, and then you will find that you can actually bring this in. This is why the promise of the treasure is there. It was quite clear at the beginning that you will get what you want unless you just rush so far ahead that you kind of leave the other person behind, and then it's sort of like, well, it doesn't work out. But beyond that, you are meant to have this, pole one. So this is something to seek that has sort of spiritual and magical support, but you just need to understand you're ahead of the other party or parties at this point. So let's have a look at some other guidance for you. We're going to start firstly with a couple of signs that you could see that you're on the right path. And I think you almost know. If you're actually starting to enjoy this rather than feeling impatient, you're going to know. But let's just sort of see what the magical and mythical can bring you in terms of signs to know that you're on the right path. White light. Okay, and that's interesting. That's with the golden unicorn, because the golden unicorn has that really beautiful white sort of colouring to them. I think there is angelic help around you as well. But if you sort of have that sort of sense, and it's interesting, that has a lot of like white energy to it. I think there's a kind of an awakening, a lot of daylight, a lot of sort of energy that's coming through that's very clear. But you might also like dream about white light. You could do meditation and see white light. You may see angel wings, in sort of like artwork or clothes or something like that. I think there's a sort of a sense of looking for that energy. And coins. You're going to make, well, if this is about business, you're going to make money. It's going to do well. As I say, we've got the Ace of Pentacles there. We've got the Seven of Pentacles there. If this is about business, career, or whatever, you're going to really do well. And as the money comes in, you're going to know, okay, it's really starting to work. If this is around relationship, I actually think that there's something about the two of you together are more powerful for an outcome financially. You could literally also see coins, money, and that sort of thing when you are thinking about. So in both of these things, if you see sort of symbols that are like that, or if they come into your mind's eye, or if you dream about it, think about what else is happening. So in a dream, what else is happening around that? If it's something that you see, think about what you're thinking about in the moment. Like, stop and think about that, because it's going to tell you something about what is the right direction for you. Okay, let's also get some support for you from the celestial realms in the sense of the stars and numerology. 9. Okay. Now that's interesting, because 9 is the completion of something to start a new cycle. Some of this may also be saying that couple of things, that you may need to complete something else. This might have also been slowing down. You had to complete something else before you could move forward. And so you can enjoy what's going on at the moment, but before you can actually commit to something more, you've got to complete something. That's a possibility. It's also maybe a thing about you, if you are sort of someone who's very future focused and you're always on to the next thing. Say this was around work. And again, I can relate to this because I'm like this. There is a type of worker who is the visionary, who is the person who comes up with the ideas. They're often not the person who sees things right to conclusion. Like, their role tends to be to inspire and so forth, and then they move on. If that's the case and you're trying to do that, there's something here that you could really build much more than you think, but you need to stay the distance with it. And you need to, as I say, be really involved in the process, not just in the idea generation. So if that resonates for you, that's what that means. Otherwise, it's something around relationships or otherwise that you need to close out so that you can let this energy come through. Or, given that it fell here, that the other person needs to close out. So it might be that they are in a relationship, but they're in the transit lounge out of it. So there's some sort of thing about completion that's important here. And we also have feminine. Okay, so this is about receptivity, the divine feminine. So this doesn't, you don't have to be a woman or identify as a woman for this. It's not anything about that. The other person doesn't have to be either. The situation doesn't, but there's something about receptivity. And you are very action-oriented. So again, it's sort of like slow down so that you can receive the enjoyment. Just think you're very ambitious and you like to get on with things. And there's just something about this, which you will get what you want, but like for a start, even if you got it, when you rush forward, it's not going to be as enjoyable as it would be if you just let it grow. And so there's something receptive. There's something like, don't be so much about the action, be more about the enjoyment and the reception. Pile 1. Okay, so to finish off, I just want to draw you a dragon butterfly. So to finish off on, again, a magical energy to show what you can really achieve when you've gone through this journey and you've found what you were seeking. What does this really bring into your life? Generosity. Now that's interesting, because I do think if there's a relationship around this, that you're going to be in the relationship. If there's a career or business thing, you're going to have that. But there's I think this has a dual message for you, Pile 1. I think the first thing is that you are going to do so well and be so happy that this will open up a generosity in you and in others. So that's beautiful. It's kind of like when you sort of have the abundance coming from this, there is a generosity of spirit that will come from that, because you really will have achieved something. You'll have your treasure, as we saw right at the beginning. If it's around love, then you'll have the love. But I also think the act of slowing down a bit, enjoying it, and letting the other person, in a sense, catch up is generosity in itself. And you will understand how your generosity of spirit is the key that brought your dream, what you were seeking, into your life. So I think that's really lovely. It's a lovely energy to finish on. I hope that this resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, for your reading. So you came to the reading with Look to the Future. We also have It Is Time, Illusory Obstacles, and 3 cards from the Cute and Creepy Oracle to give a bit more sense about what's going on here. So I definitely think, I said in the introduction, that I feel like there could be people here who are very prophetic or precognitive at the very least. And I do think that's true. I think you have a sense of destiny, and I think you're right. So what you're seeking on the level of what you feel your time is coming and so forth is here. You are ready. What you're seeing in your future, the future starts now, really, with It Is Time and Look to the Future. And with illusory obstacles, this tells me that you may have some fears. It makes me think, in fact, that some of what you're looking to the future is because you're kind of almost pre-planning around obstacles. And I think this is trying to say that by and large, that's not an issue. Your time has come. Whatever it is that you are aiming to do, you are going to be able to do. It has something to do with understanding your own patterns. So it interests me with Look to the Future, because I do think that some of you will be prophetic. And when I say prophetic, I'm not just thinking of precognition. Some people will, sort of know when somebody, they hear the phone, they know who it is who's calling, or they'll have a sense, they'll think of somebody and then they'll see them later in that day, or they'll dream of something symbolically and it kind of comes true on a kind of fairly mundane sort of level. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not putting it down. It's not a qualitative or a value judgment here, but there's a kind of thing which is precognition. Then there is prophecy. And prophecy is just as much about understanding the past as seeing the future. And I think that there could be an element here for you, because this is talking about let go and reconnect. So releasing negative feelings holding you back. So what was in the past that made you think there were always going to be obstacles, that your suspicion of destiny was in fact an illusion? What made you think that you were deluded about this? Because you're not. So there's a letting go of that. And then there's a reconnect with something or someone you lost a connection to. So there's something about this where I think it's a dream or an aim that you had and it was precious and the time is coming for you to do it, but it's almost like maybe you tried before and the time wasn't right, and so then you thought, I just must have been deluded about that, or I can't have it. But it is saying that you need to let go because you carry with you some of these illusory obstacles, and it says here with temptation luring you away from your true purpose. The thing that is stopping this now for you is the second guessing and thinking that you might not be right. So I feel like Spirit is really trying to say quite strongly to you that some dream that you've had, and I do think it's a dream that you've had before and maybe you attempted and it didn't work, now is the time. It wasn't the time before, but you are meant to do this. So, but you have carried with you either a sense like, I feel like either you've been around people who you've seen have been a bit deluded and you sort of think, oh, maybe I'll be that too, or you need really strong evidence to believe your sort of prophetic ability, and so you kind of second guess yourself all the time. But for whatever reason, it's like you kind of think, oh, here are all the reasons why it couldn't happen, or here are all the obstacles, but they're not going to really be there. The only thing that could take you off course is thinking they're the true thing, rather than, the temptation to always be second guessing yourself, looking for evidence or whatever. It's time. You're meant to do this, and you do. There is a destiny around you, and you do have a prophetic sense, and no, you're not deluded. So let's get a little bit more information, because the seeker, what you're seeking you can find, but you really doubt it. And it's really weird, because I actually feel quite often the people who are the most prophetic are the ones who doubt it the most. People who just think every thought they have is guided messages. They just sort of they just keep moving forward because they're not doubting themselves. So this is really a strong message around that. So let's see with tarot a little bit more about what it is that you're seeking. The Sun. Yeah, your life path. Could almost stop there. It's the Sun, pile 2. This is your life path, okay? Okay. Sorry, I just find it amusing. 9 of Wands, because it's like, as I say, you're the least deluded person around, but you worry that you are. The 8 with Strength, the 7 of Wands reversed, the 4 of Swords. Okay, you're seeking the courage to go after what you want. I think you have been burnt before, because, as I say, I think it was that it wasn't the right time. You might have started prematurely or whatever. What I'm getting is an example. It's like someone who maybe writes a book and they sort of send that out and they haven't really learnt yet enough about, the craft of doing it. And so they send it out and they don't get the response and they think, oh, I was wrong. But in fact, it was just part of the learning curve. It's just an example, but there's something that you tried, or you've been trying to do something and it hasn't quite clicked in yet. It's coming. What you're seeking is coming, but you have to kind of get out of the negative self-talk. You have to get the courage to sort of come out and show yourself more. There is something about showing yourself more. If you are shy about some creative endeavor or some belief you have, or as I say, if you are sort of spiritual like this and you do this, maybe it's you need to do a YouTube channel and get out there and show what you can do, because you really can. So there's something like that. You're seeking that sort of courage. You have the strength to do it, but sometimes you think, can I keep going? 9 of Wands is, I always call my marathon card, because it's where you kind of near the finish line, you're feeling a bit exhausted and you're thinking, do I have enough to take this over the line? And yes, you do, very much with the Strength here. This is your life path. The Sun in your astrology chart is what and I always see this as life path, therefore, is the thing that you are moving towards. People think it's the thing, you're born with and you have all those characteristics, and you normally do have some, but you really are developing into that over your life. So this is what you're meant to do. You are seeking whatever you are seeking here, this is a very strong indication that it's the right thing for you, but the timing has been wrong, and you kind of have to let go of that, because the temptation is to kind of always go into the second guessing. So it's plan, yes, by all means, but don't over plan, I think. So let's see what you'll find as you go on this journey, pile 2. The Hanged Man upside down or reversed. The 4 of Wands. The Devil. The Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it's your fortune. The Lovers. Okay. So if this is around love and you feel like you've sort of found someone but you're not sure whether it's going to come about, because you feel like, am I worthy? Am I the one? You might have to let go of some old love patterns to allow this new one in. It could be somebody coming back. I have to say, if the Lovers are working here with the Devil and the 4 of Wands, for some of you, this may be the return of a lover, and it just wasn't the right time before, but you have to let go of the obstacles that you thought existed before, because something shifted and they no longer exist. So it's very clear if it's about that. If it's about your general destiny, and I do think for a lot of you this is, you will find that you have a different perspective this time around with the Hanged Man upside down, and you will find the right people around you. Just when you're feeling, can I keep going, you're going to find the right people around you. You may get a bit obsessed. Okay, so this is sort of something, this is your fortune, this is your destiny, but you may get a bit obsessed. So that, and you may have to make some decisions about who to connect with and who are the right people to connect with. So if there are any people in your life, because if it's not about love, it's just general relationships, who take you into this space where you start to doubt yourself, you may have to think about what is their hold, and what do you keep in your life. I think it's also showing that you need to sort of come out and make the connections. You can't do it from sitting in your room, basically. This is something you've got to do in the world in some way. But this is, again, you're going to find this was your destiny. You're going to have a completely different view of yourself as you go through, but there is the possibility that you could get a bit obsessed. So that is worth thinking about, because destiny will kind of work it through. This is where you might get a bit obsessed with the planning. So it's sort of plan to the degree that makes you feel confident, but not to the degree that you get obsessed, because that's the one area, again, where you might go back into that, what are the obstacles, when's the other shoe going to drop sort of energy. So given that, let's get just 3 cards for wild cards around this for you. King of Pentacles reversed. 2 of Swords reversed. The Tower reversed. Okay, all right, so I think this is your energy. And this is what you have to think about. This is a description of these obstacles that are illusory, but you're giving power to. One is wondering whether something can go the distance, whether it can manifest, which stops you from making decisions because you kind of incrementally want to change something. But the reality is, this is it. It's right from the beginning, there's kind of a planning energy, and that is often good. But for you, you almost need to kind of take the brakes off and not think about that. You can't, I think this literally is saying you cannot take your destiny incrementally. Destiny does not come incrementally, part 2. Destiny just comes with a flow, but you could get in your own way if you can't make the decisions. And if you want to see what the outcome is and have it really secure right from the beginning, that's going to get in the way of this. It's going to get you into that planning and worrying and fretting phase where you're just meant to go through with this. I think it's saying that the ultimate end of this will not be clear until you've done it, but don't let that stop you making decisions and just go with it. This is like fortune favors the brave, basically, because this is your fortune, but you have to believe it. Okay, so let's get you some magical support. So some support from the Fae. Just going to use a couple of decks, get a card from each for something else to help you in you taking on your destiny and getting out of your own way. File 2. Isa, stillness, pause, delicacy. Okay, so I think this is you right now. You've sort of paused everything. But there's nothing really necessarily wrong with doing that along these ways, as long as you don't overdo it. If you sort of, I think delicacy there, I think that's mainly what Isa is bringing. Don't freeze it by not being able to make a decision or trying to make everything step by step. It's just, if you need to, there's a delicacy to this. You pause without getting into the obsessive sort of what could go wrong, just to kind of catch your breath. The 9 of Wands, catch your breath in the marathon. I think that's an energy there. It's you don't have to kind of jump on the roller coaster and just go for it and damn the consequences, because you wouldn't really be able to do that. That you feel really uncomfortable. But it's bring a delicacy, bring a kind of a lightness of touch to when you think about what decisions you're making and so forth, as opposed to really getting stuck to the point that you can't move on. And we get beauty's truth, beauty, physical pleasure, sensuality. Certainly if this is around love, then just enjoying it to some degree is important. If it's not around love and it's around your destiny, there is something beautiful about this. And there's something that's in the body. And again, that's a warm body in a way, sensuality, as opposed to a frozen one. So I think this is really the Fae just saying you need to get unfrozen, you need to get unstuck, because this is your time, and your doubts are the only thing that kind of keeps you there. But learning your own psychology to know what is the most delicate, easy way that you can move past any of those sort of obstacles when you feel that they're coming up, so that they don't take on too much control. How do you warm yourself up and get into your body and have a sense of it moving forward? I think that's the advice for you. But let's see what you could see when you're getting there. So we're asking Spirit here for signs that you might see when you're really getting that balance right and you're moving towards your destiny and you're not getting caught up in illusory obstacles. So firstly, epiphany. Yeah, just having the understanding of this, really. You might see a light bulb. You might find light bulbs flicker in your house or something like that. Kind of like, I think that sometimes Spirit communicates through electricity. So this could be like, yeah, and if that's the case, or if you see light bulbs, or if you feel like you've had an epiphany, then pay attention to that. Pay attention to the energy, because this is this delicacy. It's like that the simple, quick epiphany or whatever that like makes you know, makes you see it. And lovers. Okay, for some of you, this is about love. Like, it's interesting because it feels like destiny. It's destined love, if that's the case. And I think it might be a returned love, if that's the case. That doesn't necessarily, I mean, it could be from past life, of course. It may not be a returned love from this life. So if you're thinking, oh, I wouldn't really want to be back with any of my exes, it may not be that. So don't fret about that. If what you feel your destiny is, what you feel is coming is love, you're going to be right. That love is coming. And you'll have that epiphany, you know, probably when you see them. But if it's not about love, if you think, well, that's not what I feel my destiny is, then I think seeing lovers, hearing love songs, any of those things, pay attention to what you were thinking or doing at that time, because it's a message to you. Let's also get you some messages from either the stars or numerology as well, Alto. Venus, I'm going to put that over there. There is something about love with this. So if it is a love relationship, then boy, it's going to happen as long as you don't get in the way. And I think it will happen anyway, but it just might take longer and be more difficult if you get in the way, to be honest. But if it's around your destiny, there is a love pattern to this destiny. There is a caring pattern to this destiny. There is a beauty to this destiny. Like, if you're a creative person, there's a great beauty that you're going to bring to what you're doing. Again, get out of your own way. Don't doubt yourself. You do have the talent. You are meant to do it. But this is definitely connecting. And it may well be, if you know your chart, that when Venus, either transiting Venus might sort of aspect your sun, since we had the sun earlier, or it could be transits to your natal Venus that actually give you some signs when things are sort of starting to move through. You could even, I'm not sure how often it happens, you could even be going through a Venus return in your chart if you know your chart. Okay, I'm not sure how quickly Venus works, so I'm not sure how many, if it's years in between that or if it's each year. But that's worth sort of, if you know astrology, looking into that. And Neptune. Okay, so there's sort of, this is actually, Neptune, this is the ideal, this is the prophecy, this is all that stuff. You do know you are right, but it's also illusion. This is your issue. This is your Achilles heel. What you care most about, when you get the sense of it, you tend to worry about it being diluted. This is the issue for you. If you didn't care that much about it, then you wouldn't worry about that. But this is something very dear to you, a relationship, destiny or whatever. And as a result, you tend to second guess yourself. It's understanding that. It's understanding that the doubts only really come out with what really matters to you. But if you then think about the things that haven't mattered so much to you, that you've just had a sense of, and you know what, you've been right, and you will have been right, Pole 2, then that might help you understand the same thing can be applied to something that you really care about. Because I really do think that you're meant to have whatever this thing is, but because you care so much about it, you doubt every message you're getting, everything. You'll be doubting even this reading. You'll be going, fine, but but that's the point. If you could have a look at the things that you didn't care so much about in your life and they just worked out, then you're going to understand. So to finish off, I just want to get you a card from the Dragon Butterfly deck, because I felt that's also magical, to see what you can get when you really do find what you seek and when you follow this advice. Wisdom. Yeah, it is. This is what it's all about. I mean, you'll get the outcome you want, but it's wise. It's wise to understand. This is about having the understanding of what truly is yours will come to you. So again, the other thing possibly is that the corollary of that is what isn't yours won't. So if something hasn't happened before, it wasn't the right one or the right time, but it is the right time for something coming to you now. So I think you get a bit of a sense of both what's coming, and also understanding the past that allows you to really bring this into being. But you will be wiser at the end of this. You will understand your own power and your own ability better and how that is working for you. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it resonated for you, pile 2. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Choose Love. And it's interesting because I felt, and I said in the introduction, that I felt that most people coming here may be to do with romantic love or love in a broader sense, relationship and so forth. And the others I felt looked more like they could be around sort of work, creativity, those sorts of aims. The interesting thing is there's quite a lot of love in those other ones, and there's stuff around creativity or work in this. So there's actually quite a balance in all of these readings, which is interesting. Though I do still think for this that most of you, it will be around love, probably romantic love or love of friends and family and that kind of thing. There is a sense of work and energy, towards creating something here. But the overall sense here is about the spirit world wanting to tell you that if you choose love and gratitude and that sort of very positive energy and you have faith, like your seeking here is all about being able to hold to that heart center, and in terms of gratitude and faith to bring something in. It is going to bring luck in. Good luck is coming your way, but it's luck that you've created by that and by your perseverance. It says continue without getting discouraged by opposition or previous failure. And we have the B here, working with others, communication, sweetness, hard work. You've put the hard yards into this. You have a very grateful energy about you. And there's faith, but it is taking perseverance. So if you are trying to find love, it will come to you. This luck is about to come, but it's luck that you've earned. It's not luck that's just serendipitous. It's luck that you've earned. It's like good karma. It's an understanding of using very positive energy and the faith that you've had. If you're trying to sort of take a relationship to the next level, something's you're going to have a breakthrough, but it's been hard work. Whatever this was, hard work. And if this is love in a more general level around something, a love for a creative project, a love for your career, a love for community or a social cause, again, you have brought this very positive, strong spiritual energy to it. It is going to work out, but you have really put in the hard yards. So whatever this is, and it's sort of odd to say in a way, it sort of feels odd to say the hard yards around a relationship if it's a love relationship, but I feel like it's a couple of things that Spirit's talking about here. One is that you've put the hard work into you so that your love nature is very beautiful, it's very open, it's very committed, it's very caring, it's all the things that it needs to be, so you've worked through a lot, probably done a bit of dark night of the soul type stuff or shadow work around it. I also think that it may have been that there's a relationship that's around you, or relationships in general have been hard work for some reason, but somehow, so if some of this is picking up, difficult sort of family relationships and so forth, and that you've had to be loyal and get through something, somehow you've retained this beautiful soul, it's a really lovely energy. And that's why you're meant to have the luck coming to you. So let's see with the tarot a little bit more about what it is you're actually seeking at this point when you're choosing love. Knight of Pentacles reversed, the World, Knight of Cups, Three of Pentacles, Five of Cups reversed. Yeah, I do think for most of you this is about a love relationship or love relationships in general, whether it's around one that you're sort of working through at the moment and you've had to kind of stick with through thick and thin, or whether it's around bringing love in. But this is pretty clear. I mean, it is possible, and I will talk about it if it's not that, but I'm going to talk first for this because I think this is the main thing for most of you. You want to end the cycles where commitment didn't occur. Knight of Pentacles reversed is, a lack of commitment around something. The World, this is ending that cycle. You've had enough of that, to be frank. So you've had enough of just dating. You've had enough of casual relationships. You want to bring in the genuine, true romance. And you want it to be able to grow, and you want to get rid of old emotional patterns that didn't work. So you've done a lot of work on this already. Find it really interesting in this deck that Five of Cups is like a hydra, and what can happen, and I think why, it's being shown this way, is that the hydra, if you chop off one head, another one grows back. So while it's upright, it's kind of staying in this unhappy energy. I feel with it reversed, you've done the work. You've really done the work. So if this has been a tricky relationship, there's a lot of stuff you and your partner have worked through. But if it's just about relationship in general, then you're coming out of this cycle that wasn't able to sort of like commit into something that really can build. And you're ready to build right from the ground up, because you have this, you more than most have this sort of tenacity that a lot of people don't have. And you'd be grateful and have faith in the energy that you could build it, as long as it didn't have this sort of sense of the temporary around it. Now, if it is about some sort of cause that you love or creative thing, then there's been things that didn't come to fruition. And again, you're finishing that cycle. There's something very near to your heart. You've got the foundation for it, and you've broken the patterns that possibly made it hard to see something through. So either way, luck is on your side, as I say, because you've done the work. Let's see what you could find in seeking this. Pile 3. Page of Wands reversed. 8 of Cups. Ace of Pentacles reversed. 4 of Pentacles reversed. Page of Cups reversed. Okay, this journey for you to get to what you want, there's still the sort of sense of sorting out what you really want. So I think you've done a lot of work on what you don't want. And this is going to be clarified and confirmed for you. That which was not passionate for you and not emotionally fulfilling is going to sort of complete an end. So you've done, as I say, you've done a lot of work. You're ready to bring in what you want. But what this is saying is that your journey is also to fully understand what you do want. And it's there, it's all there for you, but it's waiting for you to work out what this looks like materially and release the old patterns completely. Because it's interesting, we've got the 3 of Pentacles here, and then we've got the 4 of Pentacles reversed. The 4 of Pentacles reversed wants to kind of get away from anything that is blocking you and move forward. But your journey is about what is it you really want? Because the Ace of Pentacles here, it's a blessing, but it's reversed. So you haven't fully worked out what it is you do want or what you want to feel when you get it. So one of the things that people talk about with manifestation is that the best thing to think about is what you would feel, not what the actual thing is. This is kind of a bit of both, to be honest. There is definitely, the journey is for you to understand what you really, really want. Because I think a lot of this journey is around being open and persevering to move away from what you didn't want. And you can't just define what you want in terms of love in your heart by what you don't want. You also have to define what you do want to feel. And you do need to release any of the old patterns that held you back from that. But there is also here something about what does this really look like materially? And this also makes sense if this is about some sort of cause. It's like it's not enough just to go, I dislike all of this, I want something else. There is a thing about what does this mean to you emotionally then, and what would it look like to succeed? Because I just feel like you've been battling a lot around this, and you've kept this beautiful open heart and had faith. But it's almost as though you've got to the point of going, I just believe in the universe and they're just going to give me, I just have to stay open and grateful and good things will come. And on one level that's true because you have put in the work, but on another level it's like it's too undifferentiated. You're going to find that you need to be a little bit clearer both about what you want to feel out of this and what you want it to look like materially. So don't just define it by what you don't want. So let's then see what some wild cards might be for you to help you with that. Knight of Swords, the Empress reversed, 3 of Swords. Okay, so there's some patterning that you need to walk away from. I think some of you might have had sort of issues with a nurturing figure in your life. So that may have sort of affected this. You may have patterns right from family and so forth with the Empress reversed here and some pain. So like, again, it may be that you have to define what does love look like to you. It could even be for some of you that maybe your mother was not in a happy relationship. So you have to let go of some of that. Again, it might be, I don't want that. And as a result, you haven't worked out what you do want. Or you could have had some sort of nurturing figure. It doesn't have to have been your mother, but it's the Empress. So it may be more likely to be that sort of side of the family. But there's a sense here of there's been a suppression of your instincts in that way. And this is, for some of you, actually, I'm getting that you might want to start a family, but you have to have released this sort of negative energy fully and release and allowed yourself to believe in it, to allow that to happen. But the Knight of Swords here is the answer to all of it, because it's like whatever that energy is, whether it's you wanting to sort of move into that and bring that in, and remember, have faith, you are ready, luck is on your side. You can, again, get away from the pain that was caused, whatever that was. You do it through understanding, through your mind. So again, it's sort of like, as I say, the interesting thing about you is a lot of people will say with manifestation, like just get into the feeling of it, don't prescribe it. But I feel like you have to prescribe it a bit. And a lot of people also will say with manifestation, don't think too much. But I personally don't believe that. I think that thought is just as relevant spiritually as anything else. And I think for you, and it's just different elements work for different people around what they need to do. There is a kind of almost articulation of this that's important. And it looks like the articulation has largely been around what you don't want. And sort of like, and that keeps some of the pain in, and stopping you from determining what you do want. But if you do, you can actually unlock that energy of abundance and growth and so forth and love. So, but you can do it through understanding how far you've come, and that you aren't going to replicate those things because you understand them. So your mind is really important to this, pile 3. So let's get you some magical support. Let's get a couple of decks from the Fae, sort of for some Fae energy to help you. Because as I say, there's a sort of a process of almost, you've done the work emotionally in many ways, but you've now got to articulate it. That's really what it's all about. So how can the Fae help you? Blood month, sacrifice, offerings, and decision. Okay, I think this is an understanding of how much you've sacrificed before and making the decision to move away from that. This is why the mind is important, because the mind is where we make our decisions, really. You know, we might come from our gut and our emotions could trigger it, but our mind ultimately makes a decision. I think this is like, you have to like let go. Faith does not require pain. It's almost like you think it has. You know, and it's almost like you feel like you should be grateful for everything, even if it was painful. But this is now like you can bring in the luck and choose the love and break out of these old patterns. But you have to be aware that's what you're doing. And you have to know what you actually want. There's not always a cost. Luck is going to be on your side. So I think you need to understand that pattern for yourself, pile 3. And Silver Sisters, time to take protection from toxic thoughts and energy. Yeah. There's something. See, the thing about you, as I say, is that you have this really beautiful energy and you're very open-hearted for everything that's happened. And that is wonderful. And that is part of why you will be able to get what you want. You will be able to get what you seek. But you do have to define it, because everybody else has been defining to you. That's what it looks like to me. I think for most of you, even from childhood, you've been told you had to sacrifice for others. That was how you would be loving. You had to do all that kind of thing. There's been a toxic energy around you. Somehow your heart has remained beautifully open, but boy, it's been hard work. And that's why it's like there's a deprogramming energy this is talking about, understanding, having that aha moment about what that was, and then you start to redefine what you want, because luck is on your side. The energy is coming in for you to have what you want, and you can have faith. But somebody told you that the only way you show love is to sort of constantly sacrifice to other people's needs. And that has caused all sorts of issues around relationships, around whatever you're trying to bring in. You've now got to work out what your needs are and really articulate that, because luck is coming in, because you deserve it. But boy, somebody's done a number on you, or, you know, a number of circumstances have. The beautiful thing about you, though, and it's truly beautiful, pile 3, is that you've stayed so open-hearted. But don't let people take advantage of that. And it's not that you have to get cynical. It's just that you have to get clear. That's all you need to do. So let's see some signs that can help you stay clear and get to what you want and what you're seeking. Phoenix, oh, what a beautiful, Phoenix rising from the ashes. There has been pain and there has been hard work, but you've got the Phoenix here again too. So you've got the Phoenix twice. You're going to break out of these patterns. But when you see a Phoenix, when you think about a rising from the ashes, when you think about renewal, rebirth, Ace of Pentacles reversed, Empress reversed with the Knight of Cups, love, that is a really strong sign for you and a strong symbol. And I think might be a power animal for you too, or your spirit or your soul. And Juggler, okay. So you may feel you have to juggle a number of things to get this, and you may have to juggle some of these sort of influences around you, because maybe, maybe if they are family or something like that, you don't want to kind of like push them out of your life, but you need to understand and juggle what's coming through. You may literally see a juggler. You may feel that you're juggling things. You may get, see motifs around that kind of thing of balancing and juggling multiple things. That will tell you you're really starting to work it out, because if you look at it, it's kind of like she is keeping them all in motion, but she's very conscious. You have to be very conscious to be able to work out what the balance is and what you want. Okay, so let's also get you some guidance from the stars or from numerology as well, pile 3. Three. Okay, so 3 is interesting. 3 could mean a number of things. This could mean, sometimes when I see 3, I think of the rule of 3 and things happening in 3. So this could be that you've been through this sort of cycle a couple of times more and you're ready to close out the last one. And again, it could be then a sign that it is done. Whatever has happened in the past that you've got into these patterns, I think where you haven't been able to get the commitment or support of others, or you've had to sacrifice too much to have that. That is that closing out. It's also a sense of community, friendship and collaboration. So I think this may be part of what you bring in with your heart and so forth. The other thing too is that for some of you, and this is very specific with those energies, if you've been in a relationship and you wanted to commit but there was a third party, it's time to let that go and bring in the right energy for yourself, I would say. That's very specific, but if that resonates, it could be sort of saying, move from the past, move into the future, so you bring in the energy that you want. And that's only if there's been a third party, but it's sort of like, I feel like if there's been a third party, you keep sort of like hanging on to that and sacrificing for that. It's not bringing you to what you really want. And it's kind of like even with that, you walk away from it. It's like that, if you love something, let it go. And if it comes back, it was yours. So either way, I think if that resonates, that is a bit of a sign. Then we also have Black Moon Lilith. Oh yeah, because there's a lot of kind of vampiric energy around you. It's funny that it fell there and what you're juggling. I think becoming really aware again of how much your loving nature has been taken advantage of. And this does not necessarily mean that people are even conscious of it. People can be kind of emotional vampires and have no bad intent, but they just are. So I don't know. But for some of you, there's probably also very manipulative people around you. So being aware of that and being aware of that programming, I think, and breaking that programming is important. There may, in fact, be 3 people in particular who've drawn more from you than they've given. And so understanding that, again, by defining what you need will help liberate you. Okay, so to finish off pile 3, I just want to draw you a dragon butterfly. So the idea of this is what you can have as an outcome of going on this search, seeking this out, following this path, following this advice. Memory. Actually, I feel like I need to get 2 for you, because I feel like this is part of the pathway, actually. I feel like memory of what has happened and understanding what you need to close out, and maybe even the memory of what you really wanted in your heart right from childhood, to bring that back, to choose that and to have faith. See, it's interesting with this card. It looks like a child's hand actually holding the hand of a guide. So I feel that for some of you, the journey itself brings back the memory of what you truly wanted and allows you to bring that up to the surface, get past the programming and the demands of others. But I feel like I need another card for you. I feel that's part of the process. So what's the outcome? Abundance. Beautiful. Abundance of love, abundance in life. If this is not about love in terms of a love relationship, then, finding the right people to work with, finding what your cause is, what you would love to do, what your passion is, being reborn as the phoenix, bringing in abundance. You're meant to have that, because this is it. Luck is on your side. It said it right at the beginning. You are meant to do well now in whatever it is that you want, but to have abundance. And this is like, I've had this feeling all the way through that there's a very nuanced law of attraction thing going on for you, and it's sort of almost like throw out the rule book on most of it, but like do define to yourself what you want, because it needs to be in your mind. You need to have brought it up to the surface. You need to have had that sort of real sense of it intellectually so you can bring it in, and then you will bring in the abundance. And part of that is remembering. Part of understanding this and putting it into a structure that works for you is remembering. So I hope that that resonates for you, pile 3. You've got a beautiful, lovely heart, and I want you to get your luck sooner rather than later. But you put in so much work already. You just need to do this one last bit of work, which is instead of defining what you don't want, it's defining what you do. So I hope that that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, I hope to see you in future readings, and please like, comment, all of that sort of thing. But beyond that, I will wish you well.